Okay, welcome back to another episode of Rock Bottom Fishing. Today's episode, we are going to be talking about the best 5 fall baits. And fall is one of the best times to fish. But you have to go through the hard times to get to the good times. And by that, what I mean, it's the fall turnover. And that's when the thermocline in the water changes levels. Because from summer, it's been down pretty low. That's where the oxygen is. And then, just all of a sudden, it jumps right up here, and those fish, they're going to scatter everywhere trying to find the oxygen. Because that's where the most oxygen is going to be higher up in the water level. But because it was down here, and that's where they all were, is deep. And that's in the summer. But then you come up, and then now it's up here, and then they don't know where to go just yet to find it, so they're all scattered, and that's the fall turnover. That's when you're going to have the toughest time to catch fish. But then once you make it through that, you get to fall. And that is the best fishing of all time, I have to say. So let's just get into the baits. The moving baits wise, I'll throw some square bills. These are the KVD 2.0s. This is like a bluegill color. This is sexy shad. And I'll stick to more of my shad colors because the shad, they're going to be moving back into the creeks. And then the bass, they're obviously going to follow. And then and then those are for my moving baits. Moving baits is like a white spinner bait. A shad colored spinnerbait, kind of a blue and white, and then just an all white spinnerbait. Those are some of the best baits you can get for moving baits wise. And of course your crankbaits, that's your square bills. And I use the Strike King KVD 2.0s. Those are pretty nice. And then for your shad imitation baits is the rattle trap. And on my rattle traps, I use the KVD Red Eye Shad, and they're like perfect size for what they're usually eating, and good. That's best rattle trap you can get. And right here, this one is just like a chrome color. Just stick to the shad colors. That's really it. And then for topwater, nice early in the morning, I'll get a spook. This is they're the original hidden Zara spook, and I'm not for sure what color this is. It's just kind of like a chrome and black. And then I'll get an all white with a red head, and like that. And the red head is just like to show like the blood like around the gills for like a dying bait fish. And that's I'll use those on nice mornings. And those, what they're good for is if you see a random blow up here, a random blow up over there, throw the spook, because the spook, it's a dying bait fish that's got away from the big group of bait fish. And it's going to be that single fish, and that's what those single blow-ups are, is they're hunting those single fish, those single shad. But if there's shad busting all around, and then there's bass are blowing up in the middle of them, throw a popper. Poppers are the best bait to throw in the mix of all of that. And these are just Bass Pro poppers. That's all these are. And those are, I love those when you're throwing them into the big school of bait fish. And then I just stick to shad colors on all that. And then get down to your late fall. Late fall is going to be on November, in October, just your later months of fall. And then I'll stick to jigs. Those are the best bait you can get for your later months of fall, because then they're going to be feeding up on crawfish. And so what you want to do on like after it just rained, that water's real murky, nasty, black and blue. Throw a black and blue jig, because the black and blue, it gives the outline, and so that's what they think it is. And but then if it hasn't rained for a while, go with your more natural colors, your more crawl colors, just like your reds, your green pumpkins, just all that. And I'll stick to the this is the Gene Larew Junkyard Jig by Tommy Biffle, and that's the main jig that I'll stick to. And back in the to the poppers, and I'm gonna tell you what rods to throw them on and all that. And so that's what I'll stick to in the later months of fall, is all the jigs, and then the rods to throw all of these baits on. Crank your square bills. Yeah, your square bills, you don't need a big cranking stick. Those are you don't need those for just your square bills. But what you will use is I would probably throw it on a 7 foot medium heavy fast action rod with a fast gear ratio reel, and so you can reel it fast and burn it, and then but you can still also slow down. And that's what I would throw on. And then a spinnerbait, that I would throw pretty much on the same rod. And then the spinnerbaits I'd throw on the same rod, and the line I'd throw with those two is on my square bills, I'd probably throw 17-pound fluorocarbon, or not fluorocarbon, 17-pound monofilament. And then on my rattle traps and spinnerbaits, I'd be throwing the same line and on the same rod. And then on my spooks, that you're gonna need a little bit bigger rod, and so bigger, longer rod if you're shorter, or not shorter, I'm sorry. Yeah, you want a bigger rod if you're taller, which I'm 5'6", so I'm not very tall, but so I would prefer a shorter rod. I have a 6. It's actually right here. It's a just a 6 foot. It is a 6 foot medium heavy fast action, and since it makes it like a heavy, and so it's a real good. It'll give you that good the good movement on the bait. And you either want a really short rod or a really long rod. And so, I would throw that with 30-pound braid, and then that's what I would throw with my spooks. And then poppers, I'd throw same rod. And then jigs, I would throw probably a 7 foot medium not a medium heavy, just a heavy rod, maybe a 6'10", 7 foot heavy rod. And because I like to throw the bigger jigs, and they give you more time to work on the ground, because you're going to cast it towards the bank, or if you're fishing offshore. But if you have a lighter jig, your boat's sitting here, your jig is going to fall back this way. But if you have a heavier jig, it'll fall straight down. But with lighter jigs and shaky heads, any light bait, it'll fall back towards the boat, and you don't get as much room to work it. But with the heavy ones, you gotta bring it down, and you get more room to work it. Yeah, that only adds a few more feet, but that fish could be in that few more feet. So I would stick to your heavier jigs. and throw that with probably 20-pound fluorocarbon. And that's with all my jigs, and that's really it. And I'll link all the baits in the description below, just where you can get them, what they are, to see actually what I'm using. So that's really it for today's video. So like, comment, subscribe below. Thanks for watching.